1980, you were coming off that win over Benitez. You had been a world champion, and you were out there looking for that kind of, I'm assuming that kind of star-making type of fight, that big fight. What was it about Duran that made you run towards that fight? At the time, he was, the fighter of the 70s to some people. Like, he was this terror, hands of stone, all that. What was it about that fight that appealed to you?
Chris, I knew Durant was bigger than life. When I was coming up, I was watching him because he was just an amazing guy. He was a beast. And I had no say in who I'm fighting next. They'll say, Ray, Duran's next. I said, yeah. But I also felt that because I was bigger, I was welterweight, 147, and he was lightweight, 135, that I could, he wouldn't be a contest. Because I've never been hurt so much in my career. Duran, they call him Manos de Piedras, hands of stone, and I felt like it's rocks. His fists felt like rocks. I remember him so well. Right now, I can go back in time and smell his breath during that first fight. He was a beast. I tell you, he hit me so hard, so many times, so many other places, that I looked at him and I said, you know what? This is it. I contemplated in the ring my last fight. I really thought that's how much pain and punching power this guy had. He was a perpetual motion.
How would you describe that power? Because some guys have that kind of speed power. Other guys have just that concussive right hand.
Hurt power. Hurt power. When he hit me, it hurt. He was the only guy, and I fought a lot. Now, I fought a lot of guys. He was the only guy that really, when he hit me to the body, I was like, well, okay, man, okay. Because he punched with such conviction. He punched with hatred in his heart and his mind. And once he gets you hurt, he'll take you out of there. Go ahead.
What is your corner telling you in those moments? Like, your corner's got to be seeing you fighting a way that you hadn't fought before. Were you guys on the same page going into that fight?
We were, because again, the fight plan was to box him. I mean, I had the speed, I had the reach, the height, I had everything. I just didn't use it. And so when I got back to the corner, they were more concerned, was I okay? And I blocked it out, Chris. I blocked it out, whatever they said to me. I didn't hear a damn thing. All I heard was to myself, I got to get him back. The next round, maybe the next round, maybe the next round.
What was it that something triggered in you at some point in those later rounds where you went from, it looked like he was in control, and then you get to like 11 on and you just flipped a switch of some kind? Was there a conscious moment there for you where you said, all right, I've got to flurry now. I've got to find a way to beat this guy?
I knew, and fighters knew. We know when we're losing. I mean, it's not hard because you feel it. You're being taken. The guy's landing more punches than you, combinations than you. I knew that. I knew. I didn't say I knew it was close. Put it that way. I'd say the fight is close because I will flourish sometimes. But he's one of the few guys besides Wilfred Benitez that I missed so many punches. I threw so many punches that I actually almost punched myself out. But I had so much heart, and I didn't want to lose my championship belt, that I fought him so hard, like in the closing round, 13, 14, and 15.
You see a lot of trash talk, Ray, when, in the build up to fights. Oftentimes after fights, guys are real friendly. They shake hands, they hug, they embrace. Respect as you're out there risking your life. Not so much with Duran after that first fight. Like, he was still yelling at you from across the ring. He's screaming at you even after he won the decision.
I know. No, I don't think he liked me a lot. Maybe a little bit, but not a lot. But you're right. He was, he was so, that was like brutality, man. He was resentment.
So you finish a fight like that, a war, you go on vacation, and at what point do you decide, I got to do this again? And what brought you there?
I took my wife after the fight to Hawaii just to get away from everything and everybody. And that image of me, of Duran raising his hands as the new champ, I went away. I want to take my wife away because she fainted. Actually, she fainted at ringside. Hell, I almost fainted. But I remember on the beach running, and some of the fans said, "Hey, Sugar, hey man, you could have won that fight if you fought your own fight." And I heard this every day. So I called my trainer, who was my business partner, my friend, my lawyer. I said, Mike, I want to fight Duran as soon as possible. He said, Ray, I thought you were on vacation. I said, I am. He said, well, son, he said, enjoy your vacation. And we talk. I said, no, I'm coming home tomorrow. And that's exactly what happened because I wanted to fight Duran as soon as possible.
Was taking the rematch, was it as much about him and trying to take advantage of his lifestyle and his, likelihood that he's going to blow up as it was you wanting it?
It was both. It was both of those things. It was the fact that I knew that he hung out and partied quite a bit, like I did. Mm-hmm. But he gained so much weight. And I said, I want it as soon as possible, ASAP. Because if I gain weight, I gain maybe 5 pounds, And also my entourage was at one time during that fight, the first fight was like 40 people in my camp. They were bothering me because they said, Ray, can I use the car? Can I do this? Guys, I'm in training camp. I'm here to fight Duran. And when I stopped that or cut that in half, the fight was much, much better. One thing took place in that ring that night of the second fight. Ray Charles, my namesake, sang America the Beautiful. And if you go back and watch it, my face I lit up. And that was the first time I met Ray Charles, who I'm named after. The first time of all the places in the world, one of the most critical and most important fights of my life. Oh, I was ready. Chris.
Yeah, and I remember seeing that visual, and you were concentrating as all fighters do in that moment, but then you just broke your entire character and then went right over to Ray and hugged him. You had a big smile on your face.
And I said, hey, he hugged me, gave me a little kiss and said, kick his ass. I said, yes, I will.
And you came out, Ray. I mean, that was a different version of the guy we saw in the first fight. You were bouncing, you were moving, you looked like the guy we'd seen up until that first fight.
Absolutely. That's with the first fight. I walked in there and I was like, I did something like this with my hands. Like, okay. But the second fight, I was so focused, ready, a little loose because I was smiling, but got serious again. I was ready. I was so ready for that fight. Mm-hmm. And during the early rounds, when he couldn't touch me. And then I did something like this, and I did this. All those things were not planned. They happened so extemporaneously. They happened so instantly. And then people were laughing. And I heard them laughing. And the more I did, the louder it got. And then I looked at his face, and he was puzzled. He didn't know what the hell was going on. And it bothered him. It really, really bothered him. Mm. And I kept doing it.
Yeah, and it was incredibly effective all throughout. And, it's funny, Ray, you could just say, if you say the words to anybody that's been a sports fan ever on the street, the words no mas, everybody knows what that means. Like everybody, even if you're not a boxing fan, you connect it to that fight and that moment. And it's been talked about and dug into so much over the years, including in that great documentary. But can you just tell me, in that moment, what did you see? What did you hear? How did you experience that 10-second stretch where he just gave up?
In all due respect to Roberto, I never heard him say no mas. But I feel this is what that means. What does that indicate? Mm-hmm. He never said no mas to me. But he told the referee, no more.
You said that, going back to the last fight, you said that fighters know when they're behind. I would imagine that fighters also know when they're hurting their opponent, when they're getting to him. Yes. Did you feel like going into that 8th round that something like that was even possible, that you were beating him down in that way?
No, that was so bizarre because I mean, of all people, Roberto Duran. That never even came up in my mind. It was my brother Roger who yelled, "Ray, he's quitting! He's quitting! He's quitting!" But um, no, I never thought that would happen. That's Disneyland.
The it went from like a moment of complete joy for you to the aftermath. I mean, it must have been frustrating to hear every question be about Duran, where it's like, did he quit? Why did he quit? What was that like for you?
Now, that's another good question, Chris, because I when they that was the topic. That was like the the topic of this press conference, and like all we were talking about was why did Duran quit? Or how did he quit? Or not. I said, hey, I did this. I made him quit. I made him quit. I was really upset. I got really, really mad because I wasn't given credit for what I did to this incredible champion fighter in Roberto Duran. No matter what I do, but I wasn't given credit. It was an excuse that he claimed uh, was his stomach or his cramps or something like that.
Oh, he's claimed a
But
lot.
Chris, I love Roberto. We're friends now, and I give him all the respect in the world. But what happened that particular night was from what I did.